Well, hey, gang, Darryl Davis coming here to talk about designing a life and career worth smiling about. I want to talk to you about paying attention to the customer and how they see you. Now, let me tell you a story that is the basis of this video. I rented a car. I always rent from Hertz. I was in Tampa and picked up a car. And when I left, I drove through this wackadoo weird thing, which was like a tunnel, like an arch thing. Imagine like a car wash thing, but it had all lights. So I drove through that. I had no idea. I'd never seen that before. I had the car for 3 days, brought the car back. When I brought it back, I drove through another thing. And I get a text that night from Hertz saying, hey, thanks for renting, but you owe us some money because the car has damage. I'm like, what? I didn't hit anything. What are you talking about? Well, it turns out that that thing that I drove through was a camera that took a picture of the car, around the whole car, when I left the lot and when I brought it back. Then, because I looked into this, they had AI software, because we know how reliable AI is, and it compared the photos. And what it found was, on the wheel well of one of the tires, there was a scratch on the metal, the wheel, the size of it's smaller. I got a fat thumb, smaller than that. $375. $375. What the hell? Obviously, I'm fighting it because I fight injustice. If I see something wrong, I get crazy. So, but that's not the point. The point is, let's look at all of the wrong things that Hertz did. You see, because what Hertz did, to their defense, they just came off of a bankruptcy because their previous CEO was making $184 million a year and whatever, and then COVID happened. So they're probably trying to, they're probably trying to be profitable. I understand that. But and by the way, the technology is, I think it's a great idea. It automates it. It can compare, things that maybe a person may skip when they're walking around. So I think the concept is good. But here's where the mistake was. When they sat in that room coming up with this idea, nobody said, hey, how are we going to take care of the customer? Because if you go online now and you type in Hertz, camera, AI, you're going to see there ain't a happy person in the world right now with Hertz that has experienced this, because Hertz did not pay attention to the customer and how the customer is going to react. You're going to roll something out, like somebody like me who rents cars so much. So here's what happened. They didn't pay attention to the customer, because here's all the wrong things. What should they have done? What would you do? If you were the executive, what would you do? Probably like me, you're thinking, well, first of all, team, what we got to do is put a sign up on every one of our locations where this camera is and let people know that they're going to be photographed. Because some people, I don't care, but some people get twisted. Who gave you the right to take my photo? I don't appreciate that. That's problem number one. Number two is to let people know that we are going to be doing this new process to make sure, and spin it the corporate way, but at least let the customer know. You cannot say, well, it's in the contract. Who reads the contract, for God's sake? It's like War and Peace. Congress doesn't even, I'm pointing at my TV, they don't even read the bills that they pass. Who's going to read a Hertz rental car contract? So tell them that you're taking the phone. Tell them there's this new software. And then the other thing is, don't rely on AI. Have AI do the first pass, and then when AI says, bada bing, I found a nick at the pa, then have a human. Because there's that. Have the human look at it and say, listen, we're not going to whack this guy for a used car. What are you trying to do, Hertz? What are you going to try and sell this car like it's new? That you got to make every little paint and chip at the beat, Come on, people are renting the cars. This is how it works. This is the business you're in. You don't like the business you're in, then don't nickel and dime your customer, because you're going to have another bankruptcy. So anyway, there's so many wrong things that they did because they didn't take the time. They should have taken their eyeballs off the P&L statement and look at the customer and say, how is the customer going to react to this? So I'm sorry if this video was long. because here's the punchline. In your business, when you are doing things, whatever the thing is, you're rolling out a new thing or you're just going through your day-to-day activities, pay attention to how the customer perceives what you're doing. Focus on that. That's what's most important. Not so much the result, not so much your activity, but it's the perception the customer has of your result, the perception the customer has of your work. Look at what you do through the eyes of your clients and customers and ask, how are they going to see what I'm doing here? Because that's important. All right, I hope this helped you. Have a wonderful day. And my last note is don't rent from Hertz. Let's collectively send them the message. All right, talk to you soon. Keep smiling. All right, bye.